Girlfriend angry after I accused her of deliberately making plans and then expecting me to pay after the plans have been made. I live with my partner and one thing I've started noticing is she will regularly suggest days out or dates or trips away etc. and then if we plan it out, she'll complain about actually being short of money so she doesn't think she can afford to go. She'll expect me to offer to pay for most things while we go away. A couple of times doesn't bother me but it's starting to become more frequent. An example of this is next month I am getting a pay rise at work so I decided to take a month to treat myself instead of saving any money. I plan to take my GF out for a nice meal and we are going on a double date with my friend and his girlfriend in a nearby city. I have paid the hotel and travel costs and told my GF I'll be getting our meal when we're there so all she'll need is money for drinks. She said this was fine. Now she's saying she thinks I'll need to pay for the full night since she's seeing friends next month and has other things to pay for. I told her no and her response was just that we'll have to cancel the night then. She's also started mentioning the amount of money I'm planning to spend next month and keeps asking if I'm going to get her a treat or a present etc. I point out that I am taking her for a meal and a night away and she just changes the subject. She suggested a day out this weekend and I agreed and we booked a restaurant and travel and then she suddenly couldn't afford it so I got annoyed this time and told her to stop expecting me to pay for everything. I pointed out it's very obvious she's making these plans and just expecting me to be fine covering the full cost once we've planned it out. She got angry and told me I was having a go at her for nothing and that I was wrong with what I was accusing her of. She said it's just a coincidence and that I'm out of order for accusing her. How would you handle this? Comment. I do not wish to infer your partner is merely excavating for precious metals, however, it appears she does not wish to be associating with impoverished minorities. Perhaps you should reconsider your economic support of this individual and may even wish to no longer associate with her at all. Brother, this won't get better. If you look at your personal balance sheet, she shows up as a liability, not an asset. You should be investing in assets both financially and personally. She is a grenade. Move on. It's amazing. Either say no to the relationship or no to every time she makes plans. Tell her you have other plans for your money. Don't spend a dime on her. Treat her amazingly in every way except spending money on her. Find other personal pursuits to spend your money on for yourself. Maybe even look up the 180 method if need be. You will learn a lot real fast. I have feeling it will be exposing her, but you never know. Either way you will learn a lot. Get one of those apps like TrickCount where you put in who paid what for whom. You will very quickly see that she owes you hundreds and hundreds of bucks. Show her so that she can't feign innocence or deflect anymore. Also take a hard look at your relationship and see if she does anything for you to make you feel loved. Probably no gifts, but does she do other things like physical affection, emotional support, compliments, helping you with things when you get stressed, etc. You will figure out very quickly if your relationship is one-sided and if she is just using you for your money. This is strangely familiar to me. My ex-wife did this all the time. She would plan something out, I would say let's work on it, and then she would say plans already made and here is your portion. Strangely enough, my portion was 75 to 80% of everything or more. Sometimes. Very few times she took financial or personal responsibility for putting me behind the 8 ball financially. 11 years I was with this person and it never got better, it only got worse. If you see this as a pattern now, it's not going to get better. Good luck, and I think you know what to do. You need to start saying okay, we'll just cancel, and another time then, and no worries, I'll do something by myself. Let her be the author of her own destiny, but take charge of your own and stop letting her manipulate you. Start by going for dinner and drinks with your friends without her. If you need a fourth, invite another friend. Basically show her that life and plans go on without her when she pulls this shit. I'm going to guess it will be the beginning of the end of your relationship, but it will be a good way for you to learn to stand up for yourself and probably all be for the best in the end. Next story 2. My fiancé and I want no kids at our wedding, but my family isn't taking it well. Hello everyone, so basically what the title says, my fiancé and I have found ourselves in a real pickle with most of my family. This will be a long one, as I try to organize the thoughts in my head, apologies for that. Some background. We live overseas and are getting married in my home country in December, including all the ceremonial parts that come with the wedding, as per the parents' request, whereas I would have loved to elope. I am of Indian ethnicity. My fiancé is Caucasian. We are financing the wedding. This is not normal, as usually in my culture the parents do. As such, we have made it a 2-day intimate celebration, Western wedding and Indian wedding, limiting to 100 people, usually expect 400 ppl with no RSVPs, and have excluded children. The issue. My older sister has 2 children and my middle sister has 1, and they, including my parents, insist that children must be present at all events, including the evening ones with alcohol. The majority are our guests, and they have no problem respecting the no children rule. Most are even delighted to leave their little ones at home. Quite frankly, we just don't want kids at the wedding, nothing against kids, but we want it to be our moment. My relationship with my sisters have been incredibly strained throughout my life. Both have bullied me when we were younger. I barely talk to them and have gone LC a few years back for my mental health. My parents are pressured and threatened by my sisters claiming to not attend the wedding if children are not allowed. This has resulted in them harassing my fiancé and I to make exception for the 3 kids, is an absolute hellspawn, who has never been told no. According to my parents, in the Indian culture, a wedding means all family members must be present at the wedding. Apart from our wishes, the issue of them being bored, noisy, loud, kid stuff, and with being the golden child/grandchild, I just want one moment in my life to be about me. Their concerns: what would people say if they come to the wedding and don't see your niece and nephews? What would people think if your sisters are not present at your wedding? They have used methods such as begging, yelling, screaming and emotional blackmailing in every way possible to achieve what they want. My fiancé and I have taken a strong stand together as a team. However, my parents have started saying my fiancé doesn't know the Indian culture, and so this is really my decision to make. At this point he is starting to get offended, because he does understand the culture, just doesn't want kids there, as do I. We have offered child care, nannies, rooms at the venue where they can be, tried talking to them civilly, but it always ends with me upset and crying after a lot of abuse and yelling from my sisters and parents. Initially we were considering allowing children to the Hindu ceremony and talk it over with my older sister first. I rang her to only hear her shout, scream, and yell at me. She did not allow me to speak at all and constantly interrupted me, saying things like, "My child has never left my side for the last 4 years, so I can't leave her behind." Refuses any sort of child care, including her in-laws. Saying that she won't attend any of the events, unless she can bring them to all of them. You should have had a wedding in Australia alone, which are like funerals anyway. My fiancé got quite offended at that. She was screaming so much that I told her I am unable to talk to her while she is screaming at me, at which point she hung up on me. My fiancé and I have not asked anything for the wedding. No gifts. Nothing. The only thing we asked for was to be able to decide on our own Gusti list, which includes no children. We even said they can have a separate reception with 400 guests that we will attend for their sake. We are at our wits' end, so I come here to you, internet strangers, for advice and hopefully some tips as to how else we can handle this. Comment. No kids. No exceptions. If that's not going to work for you, then please stay home. If you're going to continue harassing us, or helping others do so, then we insist you not attend. This is the absolute last conversation I will be having on this subject, and anyone who screams at me again for any reason can consider themselves immediately disinvited. Honestly, at this point, I'd just be considering eloping if I were you. Your family can either accept this isn't up for negotiation, or they can stay home, but they can't continue acting like this and expect that to work out for them. If your relationship with your family is dependent on you capitulating to whatever they want, no matter how disrespectfully they demand it or how little they take your needs and feelings into account, then it's best you make that clear that's not going to fly before there are kids in the picture. Otherwise, you're dooming your spouse to never getting any say in how his own family runs unless he happens to be in accord with your relatives' wishes or is okay with being made to be the bad guy, which is not necessarily a thing he's going to put up with forever. And you'll either be raising a whole new generation with this need to please even when it's not in their best interest, or you'll be jeopardizing your own relationship with them every time you don't stand up for yourself or their other parent or them when you should. This doesn't have to be a fight, or personal. Your family are the ones choosing to escalate it to that level. If they're willing to damage their relationship with you to get their way, let the burden of that fall on them, not you. Imagine yourselves as parents 25 years from now with 2 children, the older one making the kinds of demands your older sister is making on your second child and her fiancé who've chosen to have child-free wedding. What would you two do? As an aside, I've been at so many piano recitals and grade school plays that were interrupted at key moments by noisy siblings, but that's life and unavoidable, but at weddings it is. You need to realize that the relationship you want with your family is completely out of your control. With how your sisters have treated you and have now gotten your parents to jump on board, they're steamrolling you for their own agenda and not listening to you at all. I was going to say to elope, but I can see why not since all your friends have paid travel expenses, unless they're able to change their airline tickets to a new location. You need to be able to make this day all about you and your fiancé, and your family can attend without children or they can stay home. That's their choice. I may hire security though, just in case.